Possession in Hebrew is the concept that establishes relationships between different elements in a phrase. While English has separate possessive adjectives like my, your, his, Hebrew has two systems that create special forms of possession. 1. Suffixes that are added to nouns, which are more common in formal and biblical Hebrew. And 2. A preposition plus a pronoun structure, which is more common in spoken Hebrew and a lot more practical. In this video, I'll cover both ways that show how it's possible to form possession, because it's very common to find both ways. Let's begin with possessive suffixes. Hebrew often expresses possession by attaching a suffix directly to a noun, and a suffix can be attached to any noun and will require changes in the Niqqud. Suffixes are difficult to understand because they rely on memorizing endings that would be attached to the end of nouns. This means that stems of nouns can change, along with the Niqqud, and the fact that suffixes are more common in biblical Hebrew. Still, it is important to know, because you will find it in many texts. Also, it's worth mentioning that the structure of possession in English, which has separate words, will be the same in both forms of possession in Hebrew. In other words, when saying my book, your book, his book, and so on, this formation will be the same even when expressed in modern Hebrew. So, let's see how suffixes work. Let's take the noun sefer, book. To make it possessive, we'll need to attach a suffix to the end of the Hebrew noun. To say my book, we add the suffix e to the end of sefer. To say my book in formal Hebrew, the word will be sifri. To say your book, which can be masculine or feminine, we add the suffix ch to the end of sefer, and the Niqqud will change based on gender. To say your book masculine in formal Hebrew, the word is sifrecha. And to say your book feminine, it's sifrech. To say his book, add the suffix o, and the word is sifro. To say her book, add the suffix a, and the word is sifra. To say our book, add the suffix nu. Sifrenu. To say y'all's book, masculine, add the suffix chem. Sifrechem. To say y'all's book, feminine, add the suffix chen. Sifrechen. English formally, it doesn't have y'all's, but I'm still including it because Hebrew has it. To say their book, masculine, add the suffix m. Sifram. To say their book, feminine, add the suffix n. Sifran. Overall, this is how possessive suffixes form possession in formal and biblical Hebrew, and the adjectives in the first person, my and our, are the only ones that do not have gender, while the rest are affected by it. Like I said, this form of possession requires a lot of memorization and knowing stem changes in nouns, along with the Niqqud. For this reason, I recommend not focusing on this method. Instead, it's better to learn how to form possession in Hebrew using prepositions and pronoun structures, because this way is more constructive, logical, and practical. So, let's see how the second method works. In spoken Hebrew, it's possible to express possession in everyday speech by using the preposition shel, meaning of, along with a pronoun. This form is more common and versatile because it visually shows how to form something possessive. Because Hebrew doesn't have direct adjectives for possession, the following structure will use the preposition shel with pronouns, so the structure itself makes possessive pronouns in Hebrew. To visually understand how this method works, it's important to see the pattern, which consists of a definite article, ha, the noun, and shel plus a suffix. Because this pattern will have separate words, the preposition shel will receive the suffixes I showed before. Even though I said not to focus on the previous method, this way will require only the suffixes, and not so much stems and the Niqqud. So, we'll only need the endings, which will simply be attached to the pronoun itself, and not to some noun. Let's reuse the noun sefel. To put this noun in a possessive pronoun form, we'll need the article ha, the noun, ha sefel, and the preposition will have the suffix that will match the pronoun. So we can say הספר שלי. הספר שלי. My book. Because sheli ends in the suffix e, we know that the possession belongs to me. הספר שלי. שלי. My book. It's worth mentioning that the structure itself, הספר שלי, doesn't actually mean my book. הספר literally means the book, and sheli literally means of mine. It's not possible to say sheli הספר, because the word order would be incorrect, so the literal meaning is the noun of someone. In this case, the book of mine. While it's possible to express possession in English, saying the book of mine, it's generally redundant, so meaningfully, it's better to say my book, and this is the structure I will use across the rest of the pronouns. Because the suffixes are simply attached to the pronoun shel, this will create direct words that can be counted as Hebrew possessive pronouns. This means that we will not need to memorize endings, but we simply have to know the pronouns in possessive form. To say my in modern Hebrew, the word is sheli. Sheli. To say your masculine, the word is shelcha. Shelcha. To say your feminine, the word is shelach. Shelach. To say his, the word is shelo. Shelo. To say her, the word is shela. Shela. To say our, the word is shelanu. Shelanu. To say y'all's masculine, the word is shelachem. Shelachem. To say y'all's feminine, the word is shelachen. Shelachen. To say their masculine, the word is shelahem. Shelahem. To say their feminine, the word is shelahen. Shelahen. These are the words that express possession in modern spoken Hebrew. Remember that they will come after a noun, and you can see how the suffixes from before are attached to the end of the preposition shel. Even so, the pronouns in the first person, sheli and shelanu, are the only ones that do not have gender, while the rest have, so the methods connect. Now, let's see how the pronouns work in context, with the word sefer. הספר שלי. My book. הספר שלך. Your book, masculine. הספר שלך. Your book, feminine. הספר שלו. His book. הספר שלה. Her book. הספר שלנו. Our book. הספר שלכם. Y'all's book, masculine. הספר שלכן. Y'all's book, feminine. הספר שלהם. Their book, masculine. הספר שלהן. Their book, feminine. Overall, this is how possessive pronouns work in modern spoken Hebrew, which is why it's visually more understandable and practical than the other method. After learning both ways, we can practice with vocabulary and further understand how nouns function when possessive. Some other nouns can be imi, imi, my mom, the suffix form, ha'ima sheli, האמא שלי. My mom, the modern form. ביתי. ביתי. My house, suffix. הבית שלי. הבית שלי. Modern. תלמידי. תלמידי. My student, suffix. התלמיד שלי. התלמיד שלי. My student, modern. After understanding how nouns are affected when possessive, we can practice by building sentences like הילד שלה בבית. הילד שלה בבית. Her son is at home. זה המכתב שלנו. זה המכתב שלנו. This is our letter. היא אוהבת את ספרה. היא אוהבת את ספרה. She loves her book. Although I covered both ways of how possession works in Hebrew, other concepts should be known. When a noun is plural and possessive, the modern way doesn't have a change aside from pluralizing the noun and keeping it plural across all pronouns. הספרים שלי. הספרים שלי. My books. הספרים שלך. הספרים שלך. Your books, masculine. הספרים שלו. הספרים שלו. His books, and so on. However, when using a suffix, it will merge into a plural form when possessive, and the base word will change the Niqqud, like ספריי. ספריי. My books. ספריך. ספריך. Your books, masculine. ספריה. ספריה. Her books. ספרנו. ספרנו. Our books. In general, showing the changes in every pronoun will be useless, because possession with plural nouns and suffixes is very rare in Hebrew, let alone in everyday speech. So, when saying a plural possessive phrase, stick to the modern method. At last, Hebrew has a constructive state with possession. This is a more advanced grammatical form where two nouns are joined, and the first noun is modified to indicate that the second noun owns it, with no preposition or suffix. For instance, the words school, hospital, and court in Hebrew are beit sefer, beit cholim, and beit mishpat. While the constructions are made with possession, the literal meaning of the phrases is house of book, giving an indirect definition to a school. House of sick people, having a straight meaning for a hospital. House of sentencing, having a direct meaning for a court. And this is a possessive construction you'll find in many Hebrew texts. So, aside from these concepts, this is how possession is fully formed in Hebrew.